Genuis, you have the floor for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. What we've seen from Liberals thus far in this testimony is quite incredible. They're trying to limit witness testimony by moving motions in the middle of their testimony. Liberals are also trying to question the core principle of ministerial accountability. They're trying to suggest that ministers are somehow not responsible for what happens in their department. And this is really unprecedented. I think it's clear that in our system of government, ministers have been responsible for what happens in their departments for hundreds of years, but uniquely Liberal ministers think they're not responsible for what happens under them. Ms. Jeffrey, I want to ask, Canadians I talk to are horrified and disgusted by what happened with the ArriveCan app. Do you think those feelings are justified?
We acknowledge that the governance that should have been in place for an IT project of this nature was...
Sorry, I'm gonna jump in. My time is tight. That wasn't my question, right? My question was, Canadians are horrified and disgusted by what happened with this app. Do you think those feelings are justified?
I think that there were many dimensions to the ArriveCan app. I think that there was value in terms of the services that were provided.
Sorry, do you think Canadians are justified in feeling horrified and disgusted?
I can't speak to how Canadians view the app. I can speak to the governance and the project management that was put in place.
Okay, that's a pretty clear non-answer, but we'll move on. There's a remarkable absence of documents, including records of basic communications that you would expect in a case like this. Did you or anyone else at the Public Health Agency of Canada destroy documents related to ArriveCan?
I have no knowledge or evidence of documents having been destroyed, and we have a policy that requires information of business value to be retained.
So you can't say that they were, and you can't say that they weren't, in terms of your own knowledge of documents being destroyed. Is that correct?
I can say we found no evidence of documents have been destroyed.
Okay, but there was such a glaring absence of documentation. Are you concerned that documents may have been destroyed? Do you think it's plausible that absolutely no records were kept in so many of these cases?
What I can say was it was a time of great change at the agency as we responded to the pandemic.
No, but people still have to talk to each other, right? I know. Ma'am, I know it was an urgent situation and lots was changing, but people still have to talk to each other. People still send emails back and forth. In times of urgency, I would expect there would still be a lot of communication happening, and yet there's such an absence of information. Are you concerned about the destruction of documents, especially with reports alleging Mindone destroying a large number of emails? And I know that wasn't PHAC, but are you concerned about destruction of documents within the Public Health Agency of Canada?
I agree with what the Auditor General has recommended, which is that documentation needs to be provided and to be maintained on file so that when you have change and turnover in personnel, those records are maintained.
That's not really an answer to my question. Can I just quickly flip over to the Auditor General? If you can confirm your previous testimony, the complete absence of documents suggests that either there was a conspicuous lack of records kept or the documents were destroyed, that one of those two things happened, but you weren't able to confirm which. Is that correct?
Well, when documents don't exist, it's either they never existed or they were destroyed. So, and in this case, we can't tell you which it was, but there is a glaring lack of documentation that should be maintained.
Thank you. Back to the President. The app went through 177 different versions, most of which weren't properly tested. You owned the app, so why weren't different versions of the app tested? Why did you not insist on proper testing of the app?
In their testimony that in order to increase the speed by which the versions would be deployed, that they were not all tested.
So you were aware at the time that they weren't being tested, and you were okay with that?
The governance around the project management at the time looked at how the apps were being deployed.
Sorry, I'm looking for clear. Ma'am, I have limited time, and I'm looking for clear answers to clear questions.
I'm going to turn to my colleague Luc Brisbois from the Border Services.
No, I want to hear from PHAC. Over 10,000 people were falsely sent into quarantine because this app was, in most cases, not properly tested. Are you comfortable with that? And did you brief the minister about the lack of testing?
So it's very regrettable. We're obviously not comfortable when people are erroneously advised. In this case, when they arrived in the country, they were given a green check mark, which means they are cleared for entry without isolation periods. There was then an error in the app that resulted in messages being sent out. The public health agency
I'm asking
was
about the
informed.
Ms. Genuis, that
testing.
is
Are
your
you comfortable
time.
with the lack of
Mr. Genuis,
testing?
that is